One of the major social issues of our time is human trafficking, also known as modern-day slavery. Incredible as it may seem in the 21st century, slavery continues to be a huge issue in the world today. And it's not just abroad or in the developing world, but here in the UK. It's likely that there are tens of thousands of enslaved workers in Britain today, exploited, intimidated, impoverished, and hopeless. Pope Francis has championed their cause and raised awareness of this issue in the media and among the world's leaders. He describes human trafficking as an open wound in our contemporary society and a crime against humanity. The National Crime Agency offers this insight into the lives of those in forced labour. Compelled to work long hours, often in dangerous and hazardous conditions, their traffickers steal their wages. In most cases, victims are subjected to violence and intimidation to ensure their compliance. It's hard to believe that such dreadful injustice goes on, but there is no doubt that it does, and it's much closer than most of us would like to believe. And yet, we as a country have a proud record of social justice and social reform, and a long history of the struggle for workers, their rights, and a just wage. So perhaps our sympathies rightly lie with the labourers in today's gospel, who protest against the landowner who pays the first as much as the last. Though they have worked all day in the heat of the sun, they are treated the same as those who arrived at the 11th hour. And we feel aggrieved for them because it offends our sense of justice and fair play. But perhaps that's what the parable is supposed to do, to rankle us, to challenge our assumptions. Sometimes it isn't easy to understand the ways of God. We try to put God into a box, but he won't fit. We try to conform him to images we have of him, but he will not conform. His ways are not our ways, as the first reading puts it. When it comes to God, we don't get what we deserve, we get what's on offer. And what's on offer is much more than we could ever deserve or merit. Salvation is never a reward. It is always a gift. Undeserved, unmerited, and yes, sometimes even unjust and unjustifiable. To any who would object, God replies, "Why be envious when I am generous?" Thus, the first are last, and the last first. And thank God for that, because if you're like me, you might suspect and worry you're not at the front of the queue, but rather closer to the back.